Ladies and gentlemen, please let us welcome Ms. Tania Polonnowita, who is joining us online.
Million TEUs and Sri Lanka, relatively low at a 7.2 million TEUs. Considering our positioning and infrastructure, we have the ability to reach far greater heights than this, close to likes of Singapore and Dubai. Logistics is generally defined as the detailed organization and implementation of a complex operation. In general business sense, logistics is the management of the flow of things between the point of origin and the point of consumption to meet the requirement of the customer or the corporation. The graphic shows how Sri Lanka has deteriorated in the Logistic Performance Index since 2012 and is not listed among the global maritime capitals. We are ranked 94 globally, and this is not a good situation for us to be in. We need to question ourselves as to what we are not doing right as a nation. We talk about location all the time, but we haven't been able to take our location to the level that it can be. As members of the global business community, we need to question ourselves and help to steer the nation in the right direction. Moving on to this slide, on the left, the diagram shows the services that we need to improve on in order to go beyond a transshipment space and reach the status of a fully integrated logistics hub. This includes value-added CFS operations, air sea transfers, assembling spares and vehicle storage, bunker and ship supply, consolidation and data management, warehousing and distribution, entrepôt trade, and MCC operations. At the moment, Sri Lanka does have a comprehensive supply chain management solution, but on a much lower scale than what is potentially possible. There is a lot of space to develop in this area, especially with the region's cargo movement fueled by India and Bangladesh. However, one of the biggest challenges is that there are no fully dedicated areas or conducive policies, thus deterring investors from investing large sums. Further, existing policies on such investments being kept at a very high value lowers the investment appetite. It is important to understand the possibilities we are faced with India alone having an e-commerce worth of $120 billion. Some of the areas that Sri Lanka has the potential but hardly touched is cold chain management, pharmaceutical logistics, which Sri Lanka is trying on at this moment, and other various areas such as automobile and spare parts. One of the main contributing factors of Sri Lanka not being a maritime and logistic center is because of our outdated draconian laws. Sri Lanka has been a signatory to international shipping conventions but not ratified these laws as domestic laws in its law books, and without ratification, we don't have a conducive ecosystem to develop this area. We don't attract global investors specialized in insurance, salvage, so on, without ratifying these laws through the parliamentary process. Shipping companies are at the core of global shipping and logistic operations, but we have not been able to attract these companies due to the non-enactments of international shipping conventions. In order for logistic companies to set up their regional or sub-regional hubs here, we need to attract the right kind of FDI, not just terms of rupees and cents, but to create new jobs, advance technology, bring the correct human capital, and add overall value to our economic growth while protecting our local businesses. We need to look at and learn from countries like Dubai, Singapore, and also India that have been very successful in enabling regional and sub regional hubs through foreign partnerships. Sri Lanka can take certain elements from their business framework and see how we can best adapt it to Sri Lanka, keeping in mind that we always need to protect the best interest of country, local entrepreneurs and businesses. On the right hand of the column at the bottom are the leading maritime capitals of the world as of 2019. These are ranked in terms of shipping, maritime, finance and law, maritime technology, ports and logistics. In overall ranking, China takes the leading, followed by United States, Japan, Germany, Norway and South Korea. Singapore and UAE do not have any overall ranking but are ranked as third and fourth globally under ports and logistics. Sri Lanka is not even in the top 50 of these ranks. Currently, Sri Lanka is just helping India and Bangladesh to transship their cargo, and beyond that, we have not gone into global standards at all. Sri Lanka possesses a lot of red tape for ship owners and logistic companies to grow their businesses. Logistic companies, a network of services that supports the physical movement of goods within and across borders. It is US $4.3 trillion industry. So how exactly are trade logistics measured?
This is okay, no?
The metrics used are the infrastructure, track and trace, ease of international shipment, logistics services quality, timelines, and customs. According to the Logistic Performance Index, Germany heads the list of countries that are performing well in logistics, followed by Sweden, Belgium, Austria, and Japan. Sri Lanka is listed as 94th and nowhere close to even the top 50. According to Caroline Freud, a representative of the World Bank Group, good logistics reduce trade cost, but supply chains are only as strong as their weakest link. For developing countries, getting logistics right means improving their infrastructure, customs, skills, and regulations. Let us take a look at what Sri Lanka's weakest links are. Why is Sri Lanka is the 94th position for logistics globally? The top reasons are lack of focus and political will, lack of proper rules and regulations, outdated laws governing customs, merchant shipping, and lack of adaptation of international conventions, limited freedom in doing business, high protectionism, and sadly, corruption. Slow advancement in technology, lack of industry-related education, very unpredictable investment climate, overall inconsistent policies, rejection of foreign partnerships and foreigners, and no direction in steering the country to the international standards. If you look at our regional competitors, Singapore and Dubai, they have the international capital knowledge and skill needed to create their destination into high GDP growth destinations, contributing significantly to their economies. Sri Lanka has a relatively small economy estimated to be $80 billion, with logistics contributing less than 2.5 to that. Whereas if you look at Dubai, a logistics system we should be emulating, logistic contributes to 20% of its GDP. In Singapore, it contributes 10%, and in the US economy of $20 trillion, logistic contributes 7% to its GDP, which is approximately $250 billion. Our country and its economy may be small, but if you look at Singapore and Dubai, their populations are much smaller, 5 million and 2 million respectively. But they have made success stories of their logistics space and helped to convert their countries into first world countries in the Far East and in Middle East. It just goes to show that size of the market really does not matter if you get all your resources lined up Right. Moving on to the next slide, this diagram is what we should aspire to be. We definitely have the right ingredients to transform, but we are not still there because of the lack of focus, the lack of expert human capital and technology to reach this state. This has been a dream of many successive governments and our industry as a whole. The three ingredients we have for success are, as for my personal opinion, number one is our connectivity. Sri Lanka connects best to Africa, Asia, Europe, Middle East, and is at the center of Dubai and Singapore, providing ultimate connectivity. The number two is that we are South Asia's deepest and the largest transshipment megaport with all top 20 lines calling Colombo with a 4 to 6 hours aviation corridor surrounding us in all directions. Number three is that we are a logistics center with air and sea connections with three deep seaports. Sri Lanka, without doubt, has the best location, but our location is not enough and will not carry us into the future. We need to open our economy for foreign investment with certain regulatory measures in order to protect our businesses for the right reasons. We need to think big, look at the bigger picture, and open our minds to the possibilities that are out there and make our environment conducive to achieving global success. And finally, I would like to leave you with this thought. Change is very hard for us as individuals and perhaps even more difficult for organizations, governments, and nations. The status quo can be so much more comfortable, but Charles Darwin once said, it is not the strongest or the most intelligent who will survive, but those who can best manage change. If we are to transform Sri Lanka into a fully integrated logistics hub, we must be willing to embrace change as individuals, as corporate citizens, and as a nation. If we don't push for change, we will never achieve the potential that this amazing country is capable of. Thank you for your time. I hope I have added value to this session and not been too negative about the country's situation of logistics, but my only goal is to show the potential Sri Lanka has. I would like to thank OPA again for inviting me here today, and a sincere thank to you, to Mr. Rohan Masakorala, for helping us with the relevant data for this presentation. I will be happy to take any questions at the end of this session. Thank you very much and good afternoon.